Hello, Team Silvermord. So, Chi-Chi the Cupcake Queen asked me to do a serious discussion on body image and eating disorders. And I actually think that's a great idea. Granted, I covered this partially in self-esteem, but not the eating disorder. So, first off, I want to say that I'm not at all a professional, I'm not a doctor, psychiatrist, psychologist, and everything I share is basically opinions that I'm hoping help. But one thing that is very important to point out as far as body image, and some people don't even know this and some people do, advertising and magazines, basically every image that you see out there has been photoshopped in one way or another. And, a lot of them are made to make you feel inadequate. Because they can sell you products if you feel inadequate. They can sell you the newest workout machine or the newest diet product. Because if you feel bad, they can sell you things so that you hope you feel good. Just about every celebrity has been photoshopped at one point or another, and I'll even suggest going on to YouTube and just searching for Photoshop before and after. It's insane what some of these people do to magazine covers, and this isn't anything new. What we see is not reality. What we see is something that can't be obtained. And granted, for example, fitness commercials. Fitness commercials also have their own loopholes, should I say. They're selling you a product for a fitness machine that, if you use it along with a strict diet, rigorous exercise routine, and very specific lifestyle, you can look like that. A lot of the time, and I'm not going to say every time, but a lot of the time, they find people who were laid up in the hospital. Let's say someone broke their leg doing parkour. They offer him, because he's gained a good deal of weight, they offer him, hey, would you like to try this out? We'll give you this for free and, maybe some money or something. And you can use it and get back into shape. These are people who already have active lifestyles. They were in great physical shape before they got injured. Now that they've been laid up in the hospital, they've gained weight. So, the first thing they do, once they're out of the hospital, is they go back to that lifestyle. They immediately start working out. They start eating right. They already are in the hobby or the sink of doing it. So what happens? They end up back to being fit. So it's like, oh, this person lost 25 pounds in 1 month. They would have lost 25 pounds in a month without that machine. That's just how they live life. The same thing could be said about the before and after photos. Now, granted, as a disclaimer, I'm not saying this is how they're done, but it's easy to fake them. And if some company was to fake them, it's a very simple way of doing them. You find someone who's in pretty good condition. You get them oiled up to show off the curves. Usually if they're tan, that also helps. And you take a picture. This is the after picture, not the before. Then the person binges. They binge on diet soda because it has more carbonation than normal soda. They binge on salty foods like potato chips that help them retain water. They binge on things that are high in starch or carbs because it bloats them up, expands in their stomach. And they change their posture. There's actually a YouTube video on this that is very enlightening. and then they take the before picture, because all of that carbonation, the sodium, the carbs, everything in there has bloated their stomach up, so you can't see their six-pack anymore. They don't tense, and they slouch. And yeah, it looks like they have several more pounds than they did. Makes a really easy before and after picture. And a really good misconception. The fact is we all are who we are. And I'll be honest with you, I'm fat. Granted, you only see this. But I used to be about 70% body fat when I was at the peak of my physical fitness, but I also worked out 5 to 6 times a week for 30 to 45 minutes each, doing pretty rigorous activity. I'd say moderate exercise. I also controlled what I ate. I didn't splurge on junk food, and I usually cooked all my meals ahead of time. Very specific meal plans. It's a lifestyle, and it's not one for everyone. I haven't fallen back into it. I changed my lifestyle because some things happened, and I gained weight. I mean, this wasn't always there. And I'll be honest, my arms, they're jiggly. Things happen. People gain and lose weight. The important thing to realize is when you look at the women or the men in magazines, on, advertisements, those aren't real. Now, granted, I've seen some very fit people in real life. There are people who dedicate their lives to bodybuilding, fitness, exercise, and more respect to them, but that's their choice. That's a very specific and very trying lifestyle. Don't feel bad just because you look different. There's so much pressure to be gorgeous, to be inhumanly beautiful. There's Photoshop filters for it, there's Instagram filters for it, there's apps on the iPhone and Android devices specifically made for you to look gorgeous, to look thinner, taller, leaner, bigger eyes, bigger lips, bigger boobs, six-pack, bigger shoulders for guys. It's sad, but it's the world we live in. I actually really respect, I believe it's "I'm no angel" is the slogan, because it's accepting women for who they are. And yes, those are models. So even though they're thicker, they're still professional models, and they still work out. But it's proving that not every model has to be 90 pounds. And granted, if you are thin, more power to you. That's not a bad thing, and we shouldn't shame people for being fat, and we shouldn't shame people for being thin. We shouldn't shame people at all. You are who you are. It's how you were born. It's genetically what you are. Your makeup is made from your ancestors. And you might not necessarily like a couple things about yourself. Maybe you wished you were born with blue eyes, or darker skin, or without freckles. Maybe you wish you were taller or shorter. Maybe you wish you were leaner. The fact is our society has a tendency to try to tell us that a specific type is the best. But if you don't have a personality, it doesn't matter. And there's nothing wrong with saying that you're attracted to a specific body type, a specific hair color, eye color, anything like that. But that's necessarily genetics. Granted, we are dispositioned to find attraction in varying sources. Like, there's a reason that being lean or fit is supposed to be physically attractive. It dates back to when we had to survive, hunting and gathering. If you were lean, it meant you were physically adept, and that your children would be physically adept. Large breasts were a form of fertility. Being strong and powerful meant that you could survive in this environment, but we're not there anymore. We're not Neanderthals, and we don't need to feel that those are the only acceptable figures. I know this is difficult because everyone has self-conscious thoughts. Even I do. And I have all you great people telling me that I'm gorgeous, but I'm fat. I know I'm fat. I joke about being fat. And even when I get back into shape, I'll still joke about it. Because even when I'm in shape, I still have a huge butt. Runs in my family. But that's who I am. And no amount of wishing will change that. Granted, it's important to be healthy. Eating right, drinking water, exercise, at least lightly, is great for your health, and it's very important to stay healthy. But as long as you're healthy, it doesn't matter if you're a twig, or if you're larger, or if you're thicker, or curvy, or not curvy at all. It's just how you are. And if you're gifted with a wonderful personality, then that's what matters. I'll be honest, if I met someone who looked amazing, male or female, just absolutely gorgeous, and I had a chance with them, if they had no personality, or a personality that was just horrible, I wouldn't want anything to do with them. I mean, without a personality, it's just an empty vessel. Might as well be a blow-up doll, because it's essentially hollow. Now, again, that doesn't mean that all great-looking people are hollow. No matter how you look, you could still have that fault of not having a great personality. But I find personality to be very important, and being able to appreciate yourself for who you are. I mean, eating disorders specifically, you should never feel like you have to starve yourself. Yeah, it's a lot of pressure from the media, from society, from advertisements, saying you should look like this. Anorexia and bulimia are very serious. You could wake up one day and not be able to move. Your body needs nutrition. Granted, that doesn't mean you should go binge on pizza for 3 weeks straight. Your body doesn't need that nutrition. But don't starve yourself or throw up food. It's very important that your body is able to digest and use those nutrients and that nutrition. Basically, how do I explain this? Calories are essentially what your body uses to generate energy. 1 calorie is equal to the amount of energy used to raise your body temperature by 1 degree. If I'm not mistaken, it's been a while since I've taken science. So, your body usually uses, depending on your size, between 1,500 and 25 to 3,000 calories a day, depending on how active you are, your size, how much muscle mass you have. If you starve yourself, or if you are throwing up your food before you're able to digest it, your body isn't getting those calories. Your body's going to start feeding on what's already in your body. Fat tissue, muscle tissue, basically anything it can get its hands on. Now, you might not be thinking that feeding on fat tissue would be very bad, but the problem is your body will go into shock, more or less. It's going to go into starvation mode, where it's going to try to hold on to whatever it can because it thinks you're starving. For all it knows, you could be in a desert, desperately trying to live with no food. long story short, it's going to start eating you away from the inside. Not only is throwing up regularly horrible for your teeth, your esophagus, I mean, that your stomach acid has the pH balance of a battery acid, and that stuff sears. But it's going to start eating away at you. It's going to start causing health problems. And it's not just you getting thin, it's you destroying yourself. If you really want to change how you look, then I'd suggest exercise. Granted, it can change fat and muscles, but it can't change necessary body structure, things like that. Like, no matter how much I run upstairs, I'm always going to have a big butt, and I've accepted that. Because, believe it or not, some people like that. And you're attractive, no matter what you look like. And you're beautiful. Because you have a beautiful personality. Now, if you truly are interested in getting into shape, I can help with that. Because I've done it before, and it's a lot of work, but your body will thank you afterwards. But aside from that, don't feel like you have to starve yourself. I know there's a lot of pressure, and I've been called fat, I've been called ugly, I've been called a lot of things during my school years, but I'm perfectly fine with who I am. And yeah, I want to get back into shape. I want to be fit again. I want to feel amazing. But I'm not going to go starve myself. Because that's even more unhealthy than being fat. Don't destroy your body just hoping that you can conform to these unrealistic standards of beauty. So, anyway, if there's anything you'd like to add or any questions you have, any requests on topics, feel free to leave them in the description or in the comments below. Not the description. And thank you for joining me. Hi guys, thank you for watching my video. It means a lot to me. If you like what you see, why not like or comment? Or if you really want to stay up to date on my videos, you can hit the subscribe button, which should be right under this video. I believe it should be right about there. So, thank you again for joining me, and I really appreciate it.